Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Ali Madad. So today we will continue our Jamaat Khana Shanasi where we left off last time. If you remember, we were talking about Dua Qarani and we were talking about in the line what we should be doing, and when we get to Mukhi Sahib what we should do. And we were talking about how we should always pray for others. So today we're going to continue and we're going to talk about two kinds of prayers or two kinds of asking for forgiveness. There is a collective forgiveness and there is an individual forgiveness. What we talked about last time, that we always ask for others. I wanted to clear that today, that when we say that we are gunegar, tobo tobo, when we do that, we are never saying that Jamaat is gunegar, we are saying we are gunegar. Remember, you always wanted to keep that to yourself because you know your sin. You never wanted to say the Jamaat is gunegar, because what you wanted to say, they are always pak and pure, I am the sinful. I wanted to clear that part today. But when you ask for forgiveness, when you ask for dua, you always ask for others. So how does that work? Collectively and individual. I am sinful, individual. Please forgive everybody collectively. We are not saying that Jamaat is sinful, because we always wanted to think positive for others and all this sin is for us. Why do we do that? Remember, we're supposed to put ourselves under the feet of the Mu'mineen. We are just the dust under their feet. That brings us humility. We are saying that, Ya Mola, I'm humble and I'm sinful, but your Jamaat is pak and pure. Sake of their purity, due to their prayers, due to their good deeds, please forgive me my sin. And that is the prayer that brings tears to your eyes. Because now you are feeling it, that everybody is pak and pure except you. To be worthy of this Jamaat, to sit between this Jamaat, I need to be pak just like them. I need to purify myself just like this Jamaat is. And that brings tears, the griozari, the true humility within you to be asking for their prayers, to be asking for their forgiveness. So I felt that last time I did not cover that, and we may have that sense that we are calling everybody sinful. We are not. We are only calling ourselves sinful, because we are the only sinful person at that moment in front of Mukhi Sahib. Alright? So I think this is clear now. Now we're going to move on to the other question that we had, that what about the other people sitting behind the part? Remember, they are sitting over there with the Amar of Mukhi Sahib. So it does not matter, you go to Mukhi Sahib, you go to Kamre Sahib, one of the other person sitting behind the part, or one of the children that sits behind the part. You know, in schools, Mukhi or Kamriya, the REC, Majlis Mukhi Kamriya. It does not matter कि वो person कौन है part के पीछे. It does not matter. Because when you are asking for forgiveness, it is between you and your imam. If that is the case, where do we look? And I have seen people struggling, standing in front of the part. They'll be looking here, they'll be looking there, or looking for the picture of Mulapa somewhere. It used to be in our time, in old time, there would be a picture of Mulapa right behind the Mufti Sahib's part. But it's no longer the case, nor we need that. Nor we need that because we believe that Imam is everywhere. He's listening to us without us saying anything. If that is the case, then let's follow what his protocol is. The person sitting behind the part is the person who's going to listen to your prayer and who's going to reply to your prayer. That person sitting right behind the part. He's going to pray for you because that's what you're looking for. You want that person to say that, may Mullah forgive your sin. So if that is the case, should we not be looking at his eyes toward him? Because he is the manifestation of Imam with the Amr of Imam at that point. And sometimes we have a hard time doing that, but I wanted to make that clear here that at that point, he is that person or she is that person who's sitting in the place of Mufti Sahib, who's sitting in the place of the Imam. So if Imam was there physically, where would we be looking? At Imam, right? Then we must believe that Mufti Sahib is the Amr of the Imam and he is the manifestation of Imam in Jamaat Sana at that time. And yes.
So like that's, what if, okay, so let's say you want to do that, but then you feel like the kid that you're going to or the person you're going to is like looking here and there while giving you dua and they're not focusing on you. So like, then is it your understanding that, you know, it's doesn't matter how they say it, it's just the delivery, you didn't like how the prayer was delivered to you, but it's just that, is my feeling that this person's looking here and there, is that just I'm feeling the delivery was not as good as I wanted it to be, but the prayer is still the same? Is that what's happening?
Okay. So remember, it is between you and the Imam. And the person sitting there is just a medium. So think of a TV or a radio or whatever you're listening to. Sometimes your channel, gets a little bit jacked and you hear the sound, right? Buzz sound. But what happened after a second or two? It's clear. You can continue to listen. The person sitting behind that part, he may not be focused, but objective is not for him to be focused. Objective is for you to be focused. So if you are focused and if you delivered correctly, all right, you asked for forgiveness correctly. He's not focused at you, but he is still giving you that dua. Am I right? He is still giving you that dua. If you are focused, you will be focused on the word he's saying, not where he's looking. And if that is the case, meaning the connection was made between you and the Imam, and medium was those words that he's saying. Remember that when he's saying those words, he may not even know what it means or what he's saying. He's just saying it mechanically because that's what he's supposed to say. He will say exactly, Khana, aapke gunah maaf ho, ke bulchak maaf ho, whatever dua he is supposed to give, depending on the mallas you are in, or the Jamaatana you are in, or the habit of the Mufti Sahib, or habit of that person. Focus on those words, what he's saying. Don't worry about on the person or what he is doing at that point. Because our focus is not there. Our focus is what? Dua. So we are saying something. He may not be even listening to you what you're saying, but you are listening to yourself. So you are asking for something and you are listening to what he's saying. And that is the important part. Not what he's looking or what he's doing or anything like that. Does it make sense? Yes. So I think you already had that part, that yes, focus is the dua and what he's saying, not what he's doing. Okay. So after dua Qurani, what do we do next in Jamatana? Let's say that you did get there before dua time. I would highly recommend that if you are going to go to Jamatana, go to Jamatana few minutes earlier. That will give you time to relax, calm down, collect your thoughts, so you can focus on dua. So let's say what happens when you get to Jamatana at 7:29. I know it takes me more than 5 minutes to settle down. Maybe शायद मैं बुढ़ा हो रहा हूँ, मेरे को थोड़ा पाँव में दर्द होता है. But it does take me 5 minutes to settle down, to focus. If we go to Jamatana 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead of time, and why do we need to be there 15 minutes before the dua? Remember the zone of the time. We're supposed to give Imam the zone. There is no ifs and buts about it. We're supposed to give Imam the zone, right? And I'm not talking about money. It's the zone of your 24 hour, your time that Imam has given to you. The time that you have earned on this earth. 24 hour. 12.5% the zone. How much time are you supposed to give to Imam? 3 hours. 12.5% of 24 hour. 3 hour. Meaning we should have 1 hour for evening, 2 hours for morning. If that is the case, how long is the Jamatana? 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes? Should we not get there 15 minutes early and try to make up that 1 hour? Take the worldly example. We need to earn money. What do? We go to work and we go 15 minutes early, 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early, so we can clock in and make that hour. If we do that at work, shouldn't we be doing that in Jamatana? When it comes to greediness, we should not be greedy in the worldly matter, but we should be very, very greedy when it comes to mazhab. We don't want to waste anything. We want everything we can get. Every single point we can make, we should make. Meaning, getting to Jamatana early enough and to make sure that we are giving 100% the zone of our time, which is 1 hour in the evening, 2 hours in the morning. If we are doing that, then we would go to Jamatana a little bit early, settling down in Jamatana, maybe listening to a little bit of Ginan. And so when dua starts, we are ready. We are ready for the communication with the Imam. Because dua is the communication with the Imam. Again, same example I gave last week. If this was your interview, how early would you get to your interview? I know normal people come 30 minutes before the interview, just to make sure they have a glass of water, they are settled down, they are not sweating, or they are not cold. Just wanted to make sure they are comfortable before they go inside for the interview. This is your interview, your talk, one-on-one with the Imam. How early did we go for Imam Zidar when Imam came to Houston? We were there like 4 or 5 hours before the time. Why did we not just get there at 11:30 when Imam was supposed to come? No, we were there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Some people came 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't we believe that in Jamaatana Imam is there? Are we not communicating with the Imam in Jamaatana during the dua? Are we not understanding this is the communication? If we are, and we should, then we need to get there early enough, relax. Now, if you have a choice, or if you don't have a choice, let's say, you're rushing just to get to the dua, I'm not saying don't go to Jamaatana. Still make it to Jamaatana, even if you don't make it on time. Yes, it's okay. It's, compared to not going, it's better to go on time or a little bit late. But if you can, you should try to make it to Jamaatana a little bit early. So you have that chance to calm down and get ready for that communication with Imam. Because dua is communication with Imam. Okay. If we are talking about dua, what does Imam is asking us? Now this is really important. If you look at the dua book, the very first page, look at the Farman on the very first page of the dua book. Imam saying, if you're going to say your dua, you must understand the meaning of it, not translation. We are not talking about translation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, starting in the name of Allah. No, we are not talking about translation. We are talking about the meaning of the dua. So if you know the meaning of your dua, then there will be a direct connection and communication with the Imam. Because now you know exactly what you're saying and who you are saying to. Someone can say, well, we already know we are talking to Imam. And we already know what we are saying. Because I know my dua, I learned that when I was 5-6 years old. I'm not talking about the Arabic dua that we recite just for the sake of reciting. I'm talking about the meaning of the dua. Inshallah, if given chance, one day we will sit and we will go through the dua to make sure that we understand the meaning of the dua. Because right now, we may know the Arabic part. Since Arabic is not our language, so half the time we don't know what we are saying. We may know the translation of the dua, but translation of the dua does not do justify to the meaning. Because meaning is different than translation. If Imam wanted us to know the translation of the dua, then he would have said that. But in the English language, he has no problem saying, I want my spiritual children to learn the translation of the dua. But he did not say translation, he said meaning of the dua. If he only wanted us to know the translation of the dua, how would this farman will apply to people living in Syria, in Dubai, any Arabic speaking countries? So you're saying this farman is not for them? It's only for people who are living in America and Pakistan, who doesn't speak Arabic? No, Imam is talking to also those mu'min, those followers, those jamaat, they're living in Arabic speaking countries. He's telling them, don't just recite the dua in your own language, which is Arabic, but know the meaning of the dua. I cannot emphasize more that we must learn the meaning of the dua so we can benefit from the dua 100%. So we could have the communication with the Imam. Otherwise, we are saying things we don't even know what we are saying. It would be really hard to communicate with somebody without knowing what we are saying. Okay. Let's come to the tasbih after the dua. So there are two tasbih. Over here we don't have anybody who would ask that question, but if there was an older person sitting over here from other country, like Pakistan or Africa or India, He may ask, in Pakistan or in other countries, the standing up tasbih happens after the second dua. Over here we have the sitting down tasbih, and then we have a standing up griozari tasbih. So some people ask or they wonder, how come we are not uniform or we are not doing the same thing everywhere? How come in Pakistan their rites and rituals are a little bit different time-wise or location-wise than in America? How come we are saying our tasbih sitting down and then standing up? Mushkil Asan tasbih and griozari tasbih. Two tasbihs, right? After the first dua. My answer to that would be, remember, dua is for us, compulsory. Everything else is voluntarily. When you're doing something voluntarily, you do whenever you want to do. It really doesn't matter. You do it before the first dua or second dua, or it doesn't matter you do it twice or three times or one time only. It really doesn't matter. Because this is voluntarily, this is something you're doing extraordinary on top of your compulsory dua. Mushkil Asan tasbih sitting down and griozari tasbih standing up. Let's talk about griozari tasbih. Again, because we don't understand the meaning of griozari tasbih, we are just saying tasbih, griozari tasbih. What does griozari literally mean? Griozari. Griya karna. Shed tears. Weep. Griya karna. Weep. Zari karna. Asking for forgiveness. Loudly. Please forgive me. When we listen to the word griya or zari, what comes in our mind? Probably with nothing, because we don't understand the meaning of it. Literally, we're supposed to feel that, Imam, how come you are so far away from me? How come I don't feel you? How come I don't see you? You are my mother. I'm like the child who has lost the mother. How much would a child cry if he cannot find his mother? How come we don't feel that? Are we not the children of Imam? Is he not our mother and father? If we feel that he is our mother and father, how will we weep? How much would we cry? Griozari, meaning that you're supposed to have that feeling of Giryan. You're supposed to have a feeling of the Zari, asking, calling on him, crying for him. But we don't feel that feeling because sometimes or most of the time it just goes by so fast because we are not focused or we don't understand the language. Okay, at this time we are supposed to be looking at Mola or looking for Mola and see, where is my mom, where is my dad, my spiritual mother, my spiritual father, where is he? And when I don't see him, I should have tears in my eyes. I should do griozari. And look at the way it goes. Griozari, and then what we say, Ya Ali Ya Muhammad. We are trying to remember our mom and dad. Ya Ali Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali Ya Muhammad. So we should have that feeling in our heart that we are calling. If you are lost in a festival somewhere as a small child, how would we call our mom and dad? We'll be yelling, we'll be screaming, looking for our mom and dad because we don't see them. That's what feeling you should have in you when you sing griozari tasbih. Now remember again, there's the collectively and there's the individual ibadat. In collective ibadat, you cannot be screaming and crying. But in individually, so in Jamasana, the griozari tasbih is just a sample for you to think about, and then when we are doing individual griozari, then you apply that griozari to yourself. We understand, right? So in Jamasana, since we are doing collectively griozari, it would be really disturbing if everybody start to cry. But there are Jamasanas in other countries that you will see physically and literally people crying. And you can hear them, you can see them crying. And they will not be ashamed or anything like that. Because you know why? Because everybody would be doing the same thing. There are Jamasanas that you will go to, and if you ever, I pray that you do get a chance to go to this Jamasana, you will see during dua people are weeping. During tasbihat, ginan, they are crying. I mean, all 20, 30 minutes, you will see people are just crying and crying and crying. And you feel the spiritual power in that Jamasana. Because everybody is focused in this Jamasana. They have no other thoughts in their mind. And because of that, they are connected and they are feeling their spiritual connection. And due to that, they are crying. But of course, what I'm saying is, collectively griozari, it may not be possible, but that is just a sample for us to think when we are doing individual griozari. So we can bring that home, and then we should, when we have that extra 15 minutes, remember we still owe him some time out of the 3 hours. So we should take that 15 minutes and we should do that griozari at least once a day. So we remember when we are in Jamasana, okay, so this is the griozari that I should be doing. But you do that individually. You can do that after Jamasana actually. You can sit there and do that. You don't have to come home and do it. You can do it in Jamasana. And I see a lot of people do that, right? After dua, they sit and they do their griozari tasbih. Okay. Ginans in the middle, Farman in the middle. So when we do that,
before you go, can I say a few things
sure.
to Jamal? Because his interest is specifically for students. The way he's talking about focus, when you talk to young children, what we can say to them is that when you are coming from outside, you're playing, your heart rate is higher, you're breathing fast, you're active, you're hyper. When you sit down in Jamaat Khana, what you do, you relax. Why do you have to relax? Why do you have to go through all this focusing? Because you are trying to go into your internal world, in spiritual world, into your spirit. And the way we talk about griozari, you see your mother and father in physical world. Now you're looking for your spiritual mother and father who are physically not there, which means you need to enter into the world of spirit. How do you do that? You become quiet and you focus and you go inside. That is why it is important to come early, settle down, and then that is why it is important to focus your thoughts. So just to simplify, so we can, because what he's talking, it's very good, but children may not understand it at that level. They'll be like, I don't even care about focusing. So when you talk to children like that, they'll understand the reasoning of it, And there's one more thing which you said was very beautiful. Griozari, it is so important for children to understand that concept, that if you lose your mother and father, how would you be crying? So just apply that you have your spiritual parents within you, but you don't see them. In order for you to see them, you have to be, calling them with love, with tears in your eyes, and really wanting them, and at that time then you'll be able to see them. And then other thing which I think we need to talk more, the concept of dason for children. Because you don't earn money, but dason is must on everybody. So on you, what kind of dason is must? It's time. That is why you are in scouts. That is why you are in whatever, khidmat you do, volunteers. Why do you do that? It's not just for khidmat. It is for you to learn that you are paying the dason of your time. And that is why this concept of timing is important. You have to, every individual has to pay 1/8 of dasam. So from 24 hours, you are supposed to pay 1/8 of dasam. How do you pay it? By attending REC, by going to Jamaat Khana, by saying tasbih before you go to bed, by saying dua when you wake up in the morning, and you have to keep a record. The way when you go to school, there's a bell. Enter at that time. If you don't get what you get tardy. So do you keep a record of your dason? Because if you will not learn to keep the record of your dason from now, when you grow up as an adult, nobody will ask you. Nobody will ask you, and there are levels of dason. So this is your level of dason that you have to pay 1/8 of your time of dason, and that will make them, oh, I have to do that. And the next class it would activity be how much dason who paid, and that's how they'll learn.
That's all of the time.
That's all of the
That's
time.
beautiful.
We are putting it.
Yeah,
So bigger concept, but making it so simple and applicable to them that they feel, oh yeah, and they can tell it to their parents. Mom, I paid this sum, and that makes parents also realize, talk about money this sum.
Yeah, that's a good exercise for children to keep a record of their timely dasam, to make sure that they understand that dasam is more than just the money. We think that we earn $100 and we give $12 to that, we are done. But no, that is not true.
There is also a link to TKN.